Welcome to Disability UK. I'm Joy, and today I have a lovely seated slow flow practice for you, focusing on rooting through the legs to rise through the rest of the body. Today you'll need a bottle of water and 2 blocks. Let's get started. Welcome to this gentle, seated, slow flow practice. Let's all start in an easy seat, sitting all the way back in your chair. Feet are supported on blocks if you're short like me and need to bring the floor up to you. Today, we're just going to start focusing on the breath. You can rest your hands gently on your lap, or if you'd like, bring one hand to your heart, the other to your belly. Gently close your eyes if it feels safe and comfortable to do so. Inhaling, drawing the breath all the way down through the nose, back of the throat, chest, diaphragm, filling all the way up. Exhaling, releasing the breath either through the nose or sighing it out through the mouth. We'll do that 2 more times. Inhaling and exhaling at your own pace. Allow your breathing to return to normal. Now gently open your eyes. Maybe find some spontaneous movement through the shoulders. And we're going to come right into a downward dog variation, finding the edge of your seat, using your blocks for support. I like to keep my legs slightly wide so there's lots of space for my belly to be free between my legs. And we're going to fold forward, hinging from the hips, making sure that we feel nice and secure in our chair first. So allow the chair to support as much as your thigh as you need while you're still able to press firmly with your feet into the floor. You'll start to feel the legs turn on as you press into the floor. And then let's invite the arms, doing a very similar motion here as we fold forward, extending the arms and pressing down into our blocks. And then invite a very mild rotation, almost like you're unscrewing the lids of jam jars here, but you're not actually unscrewing anything. And imagine this as finding your roots, growing roots into the floor as you press down with your feet, growing roots into your hands, extending around your blocks to the floor as you press. And then we're coming into child pose, allowing the legs to soften. You can allow your upper body to soften. If you want a little bit more support here, you can bring the blocks in together and rest. Arms crossing over blocks for support. Maybe you widen the legs, really allowing the belly to be supported. And when you're ready, since we're in such a deep forward fold here, bring your arms down and use the floor and the blocks just to raise up to a point where you can again press firmly through the feet and support the back as you hinge up from that position. Lovely. Let's bring a little bit more spinal love into this practice. And we'll start with a segmented spinal roll. Finding the edge of your chair, a nice easy seat. And starting at the tailbone, curling under one vertebrae at a time. Really rounding through the mid-back. Almost like the mid-back is reaching towards the wall or the chair back behind you. And then starting again from the tailbone, coming back up to neutral spine. 2 more times, finding a little bit of flow in this movement. Slow flow. Seeking out what feels yummy. And one more. And rising back up. Next, let's bring knee to chest, pressing firmly through opposite leg. And it's absolutely okay to use your hands under thigh to bring that knee in towards the chest. Maybe you circle the ankle, flexing the toes, pointing them, switching directions. Gently lowering that leg, pressing firmly into the floor, helping the other side. Coming up, seeing if you can balance your weight evenly between sides here. So we're not leaning too heavily on the supporting side. We're kind of finding that balanced weight between our sits bones And give yourself some ankle circles here. My ankle is snap, crackling, and popping. And then reverse, other way. And then again, with love, kindness, lower that leg back down. Very nice. We'll come back into a forward fold. Now you may want your blocks for this, or you may want to support yourself on your thighs. You choose. We're going to focus this forward fold as a hinge from the hips. So thinking of the movement coming from the hip crease here. Using your hands to support yourself if you need. Walking hands down your feet. Now you can rest hands on floor or block. You might need two, depending on how short your arms are. Forward fold. Now you can let your arms hang out here. What I sometimes like to do is kind of like this crow pose variation. So forward fold or welcome to crow. And what I'm doing is just pressing my triceps, the back of the arm, into my upper thighs, and then my upper thighs are squeezing in. So arms are squeezing out, thighs are squeezing in. And fold. And let it hang. And then again, we're pressing firmly into the floor through our feet to protect our lower back. And we're going to use our arms to get us that first little bit up, and then we can use the muscles of the back body. And that just makes sure that we are preventing strain on the low back. If we're coming up from such a deep, deep fold, that's a lot of strain on those muscles to get us back upright. So show them some love. Get into a position where they can do their best work most safely. And then in this position, again, we're going to find that rooted feeling. Feet pressing into ground, sits bones rooting into the chair, arms raised overhead, heart space shining forward, big beach ball between your hands. And let's come over to the side. Back up, lateral flexion of the spine. Ooh, you probably didn't hear that pop, but there was a big pop. A lovely feeling pop. All right, I'm gonna do that again. I notice that as I come over to the side, my shoulders start coming towards my ears. So I'm gonna release that. And having noticed that about myself this morning, I'm going to try and stop before I get to that point of tension. Arms are coming overhead, holding that big beach ball, pressing legs into floor. We may be doing chair yoga, but legs are still part of this practice. It just looks different for us, and that's okay. Over to the side, and I'm going to stop here. I start to feel my shoulders coming towards my ears, which means I'm holding tension. So let's find a space without tension. One more time, other side. and coming up. Very nice. We're going to come back into a chair pose. So obviously we are sitting in a chair right now, but we're going to find that 45-degree hinge. Again, working that spinal strength, working the strength of the back body. Arms come overhead, just like we were holding that big beach ball again. And then I'm going to ask you to hinge forward from the hips and keep a line down the side body. So if I were able to put a camera here and you could see my side body, it would be this like lovely line. And I'm going to fold forward, or hinge forward really. And there's this point where I really feel my feet pressing firmly into the floor. My legs have this sense of tension where the knees are pressing out to keep me upright. And then let's forward fold. So this is where we can hang into it. If you're in the mood to kind of pop into a crow, you can place hands on blocks. This wasn't actually written as part of the practice, but while I'm hanging out here, let's get some crow in. Or you can just dangle and enjoy that yummy forward fold. All right, forward fold. And if you're all the way deep into a forward fold, use those hands to come back up to about that chair pose position. And then we allow the back muscles to support into the gluteals, so the bum. Lovely. Let's invite the psoas to our practice. I'm going to scoot, and it doesn't matter what side you choose. So this is my left, this is my right. Tattoos are the left side. But it doesn't matter. You're just going to come to the edge. So your front leg is fully supported at a 90 degree. And you might find that you need a block underfoot. Nothing wrong with that. And you're bringing the back leg to 90, 90. If you'd like, bringing arms overhead, warrior one. And then I'm a little too close to my back wall here, so I'm going to readjust. Coming forward. I'm still in that 90-90 position. But the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to straighten my back leg and come forward into that same hinge position we've been doing, coming into that lovely airplane. Knees bent, arms overhead. Coming forward, straightening the back leg into airplane. One more time. And you can see I've got a little bit of the shakes. So I'm working my legs here, adapting it to meet the needs of my body. And back up. Shake that out. Coming to the other side. So, setting up If your legs are short like mine and you need the block. And we're going to start with a 90-90. Making sure you can feel your feet pressing firmly into the floor. Raise arms overhead. And then straightening that back leg, folding forward over front leg. Coming back up. And again, fold and straighten back leg. And one more time. There we go. Fold and straighten. And coming back up. Lovely work. I'm very grateful for the light morning breeze coming through my window right now. And let's one more time find that chair pose. So arms overhead, hinging from the hips until you feel that press out and down through the legs. And don't hold your breath. And let's forward fold. Let it out. And you know, now that I found this crow, let's do some of that. Or you can just dangle. So elbows are pressing out, legs are pressing in, working the opposite muscle groups that we did when we were doing those chair poses. So this is a nice counter pose. And then just let it all hang loose. You might want to cross your arms. And then slowly pressing yourself up, first with your arms, using your blocks, your thighs. And then once you get to that nice chair pose, then you can start using your back body to bring yourself into a nice, easy seat. Coming back into one last round of that lateral flexion. Feet pressing into the floor, arms overhead. Moving over to one side. Coming back up. Other side. Back up. Inviting the knee back to your chest. Maybe just pointing, flexing. Finding any movement that you might need. Knowing that we're winding down this practice. Right? Lowering your leg with love. And coming to the other side. Scooping it up to your chest. Pressing opposite leg into floor. Point, flex, point. Say hello to those beautiful feet this morning. Hello. Lovely. And let's give a little spinal twist here. Feet evenly pressing through the floor. And I'm just going to start moving from the chest, the upper body, rotating, and then placing hands. And if I lift my hands, you can see that I'm not using my arms to, pull myself into the twist. Okay. Coming back to center. Same thing, using the muscles of my trunk, my torso, to turn, and then just placing my arms. And a good test here is can I lift my arms and stay in the same spot? Great, we're using the right muscles for this twist. We're staying within our safe zone of movement, our safe range. And coming back around. I invite you to find that easy seat you found at the beginning of practice. So for me, that's blocks. Now, if when you're seated like this, you feel this tension in your legs, like you can't allow them to just splay open, that doesn't feel right to you. And so you're holding your legs together and can't really find that relaxed seated Shavasana. I recommend finding a yoga strap, a yoga band, a scarf, and just providing some external support here. So I've tied it kind of around my upper thigh here. So as my legs relax, just holds them in place, creating a more comfortable, relaxed position. So go ahead and sort yourself out. When you're ready, feel free to close your eyes, stare softly ahead, and don't change anything about your breathing. If your breathing is still a little quick from all the movement that we just did, allow that. Allow it to naturally settle into your resting breathing pattern. And when that happens, will be different for everyone. So be patient with yourself and with your body. So often, those of us with limited mobility may feel like we aren't very rooted to this world. Standing can feel quite unbalanced and risky, not to mention walking. Many of us may feel a sense of disconnection, of being untethered from the earth. I hope that in this practice, in this seated, slow flow, you were able to reconnect your body to the earth, to find that sense of rooted connection while seated. And I hope that that connection stays with you throughout the course of your day today. You may decide to stay here in this seated Shavasana. Or if it's time for you to start your day, maybe wiggle your fingers and your toes, using gentle movement to find your way back into this space. Gently opening your eyes when you're ready. Sighing out whatever you need to sigh out. Take a few moments here before you leave this calm, gentle space. Thank you for taking the time to practice with me today. I look forward to seeing you again soon.